What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're all doing well. Today we're taking a look at the GTX 1080 Ti For The Win 3, which is currently EVGA's flagship Pascal video card. For The Win 3 sports an all-new cooler and the brand's ICX technology, which I've already detailed in my For The Win 2 video, but to quickly recap, ICX is EVGA's sort of umbrella term for several features that enhance thermal monitoring and cooling. For starters, rather than having just one thermal sensor on the GPU like most video cards do, ICX adds 9 sensors and a couple microcontrollers to the PCB. These sensors are placed in close proximity to the memory, power, and GPU and can be monitored via Precision XOC or with the card's trio of built-in LED indicators. The LED colors reflect each zone's temperature range for at-a-glance monitoring, assuming of course you can physically see the LEDs from where you're gaming. For added customizability, the LED colors and thermal range values can be reassigned within the software. Now, of course, having more sensors won't make your card run any faster, but having access to more thermal data can potentially help users optimize their custom fan curves, especially with EVGA's asynchronous fan control, another ICX feature that gives each fan its own user-defined fan curve. In the case of our For The Win 3 here, the triple 90mm double ball bearing fans target different zones, with the left fan primarily cooling the GPU and the other two fans serving the memory and power. This sectional cooling design works for the most part. However, heat transfer between components can still occur since all the elements are packed together on the same PCB. And with that in mind, I wouldn't recommend limiting airflow too aggressively to any one particular area of the card. Other ICX notables include a number of fin holes which promote airflow through the heatsink, and L-shaped fins for increased surface area and heat dissipation. Additional heat absorption is offered by several of these patented pin fins, which protrude from the die-cast baseplate. Even the baseplate and backplate serve a functional purpose here by making direct contact with the main components using no shortage of thermal padding. So that's a super quick rehash on ICX and how it's been implemented onto the Ti For The Win 3. It's certainly not a set of technologies that I would call vital to the end user, but they can still be valuable to enthusiasts who demand the additional control and peace of mind. There's more to talk about though, like that gorgeous as fuck shroud. It's treated with a powder-coated finish that gives it an almost metallic appearance, but it's actually made of plastic, which feels durable and high quality. The exceptionally open-air design is not advertised to improve temperatures, though take into consideration that heat from the card will be exhausted almost entirely into your chassis. The card measures just under 12 inches long but maintains reasonable dimensions elsewhere, making it noticeably smaller than the Asus Strix GTX 1080 Ti with significantly less sag. This is a huge plus. Apart from the features we've already discussed, the aluminum heatsink is partitioned into two halves, joined by 5 6mm copper heat pipes. Or at least I think they're 6mm. They definitely look like they're about 6mm. On the side of the card, you'll find 2 SLI fingers and a large strip of branding with RGB backlighting that's fully customizable with the Precision Color Picker, which, by the way, is the exact same color picker as the one in MS Paint. Don't think I didn't notice, EVGA. Also on the side of the card is a dual BIOS switch and a pair of 8-pin PCIe power connectors. The beautiful die-cast backplate is lined with ample ventilation slots and a tasteful RGB badge that can be synced in perfect unison with the side lettering. These are quality LEDs with rich, accurate color and no visible hotspots. On the back, you get your reference I/O, including a dual-link DVI, 3 DisplayPort 1.4, and an HDMI 2.0B. Now to briefly run down some basic specs, NVIDIA's GTX 1080 Ti of course borrows a modified GP102 GPU as found on the Titan X Pascal, and more recently the other Titan X Pascal, aka Titan X Little P. Thanks for making that simple, NVIDIA. The card sports 3,584 CUDA cores and a factory overclock from EVGA to 1569 MHz base and 1683 MHz boost. We also get an ample frame buffer of 11 gigs of GDDR5X at 11 gigabits per second on a 352-bit bus, offering up 484 gigabytes a second of memory bandwidth. While the GTX 1080 Ti is the world's first single GPU that comfortably and consistently handles 4K gaming at 60+ frames a second, the Founders Edition model is plagued by gratuitous heat and noise, so as usual, it's up to add-in-board partners like EVGA to optimize the overall experience, especially when it comes to thermals and acoustics. Despite my room's warm ambient temperature at the time of 29 degrees Celsius, the GPU hovered between 70 and 75 C under load, which isn't half bad. Using the default auto fan curve, the card's noise output was delightfully minimal as well, certainly quiet enough to go unnoticed in a conventional closed chassis. But that said, here's a sound test on my open-air testbed. Before we dive into the benchmarks, here's a look at the overclock settings I was able to pull off. If they don't look too impressive, keep in mind that the For the Win 3 already comes with the heavy factory OC. In the end, the card managed an average core clock speed of 1936 MHz and a memory clock of 1451. Today's tests were ran with an Intel Core i5-7600K overclocked to 4.8 GHz on Liquid on an MSI Z270 Gaming Pro Carbon with 16 gigs of G.Skill Trident Z DDR4 at 3200. Our boot drive is the 1TB Toshiba OCZ RD400 M.2 NVMe SSD, loaded with the latest Windows 10 updates and NVIDIA WCL drivers. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's remind ourselves once again how friggin' fast the GTX 1080 Ti is with some 1440p and 4K benchmarks. Comes as no surprise that this card is blazing fast and managed to deliver over 60 FPS on average at 4K in every game we tested. Ultra HD and ultra wide gamers can expect even better performance around the 100 FPS mark, which is just crazy. Oddly enough, we did encounter some underwhelming frame times though, particularly the 1% and 0.1% lows in Battlefield 1 and the 0.1% lows in Metro Last Light. After several retests, these results were repeatable, and I'm not exactly sure why they scored on the low end like they did. That said, the For the Win 3 crushed every other title and performed right on par with my overclocked Asus Strix GTX 1080 Ti. At $780 USD, this is currently one of the priciest TIs on the market, making it a tough sell when you think about it when you consider EVGA's own GTX 1080 Ti SC also ships with ICX technology for $60 less, the main difference being the lower factory overclock and smaller 2-fan cooler. If money's no object, however, the For the Win 3 is a cool and quiet monster that'll destroy every game you own and look fabulous while doing it. But that's gonna do it for now, guys. Let me know in the comments which GTX 1080 Ti you would prefer and why. Does it have a specific set of features that you like, or does it just look super badass? Let me know. Also, before you go, don't forget to toss me a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to check out Bitwit Ultra, my early access ad-free channel for $1.50 a month. You can start your 2-week free trial today and back out anytime. As always, I'm Kyle with Bitwit. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in the next